Thank you. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce our senior speaker, Matt Roer. Matt has enjoyed a truly outstanding career in our upper school at King. A review of his transcript is more than impressive, overwhelming in fact. It's not standard for a student to challenge him or herself so consistently and so powerfully, even the most gifted students. Over his 4 years in the upper school, Matt took 11 honors classes and 8 AP classes, as well as linear algebra his senior year, which is not designated AP simply because it is more advanced than the most advanced AP course in math. During his senior year, he was inducted into the Cum Laude Society. He earned a Global Studies graduation distinction that was acknowledged at our Awards Day ceremony this Wednesday. What is simple and clear in all of this is that Matt has an intellectual prowess, a range of academic interests, a commitment to a mindful life that all of us can and should admire. He strikes me as a truly ethical scholar. As exhausting, and it does sound exhausting, as this academic life is, it would be unfair to limit my remarks to this corner of Matt's life, as he truly has been a multi-talented and connected individual in this community. For example, he's been extremely involved in our basketball program, our tennis program, our debate club. He was honorable mention at the Brown University Model United Nations, representing Armenia, as well as the outstanding delegate at the Haileybury Model United Nations in England, representing India. And it is this work in global affairs that truly sets him apart. Beyond Model UN, he's traveled to Iceland to meet with their president and discuss that country's implementation of geothermal heating systems. He has traveled to Italy to attend a summit on sustainable food systems. He has a passion for the topic of renewable energy. He is quite knowledgeable about the issue of drinking water scarcity around the globe. He has a commitment to finding solutions and improving the living conditions of others, and he knows that although many of us have not been directly impacted by these concerns, it doesn't mean that we won't be or will be able to avoid them for the rest of our lives. Pretty sophisticated stuff, and to repeat myself, pretty ethical thinking. I reviewed many of the comments made by Matt's teachers and advisors when preparing this introduction. I read them all. They were all superb. One line stood out, and I quote, "He is affable, humble, and genuinely interested in listening to what others have to say. He is a doer, an organizer, and a world shaker in the making." High praise indeed. In my opening comments, I stated my deep comfort in these students being in positions of influence as I enter my golden years. I'm certainly very happy that Matt is one of them. He is off to the University of Virginia in the fall. Our loss is certainly their gain. It's my honor to welcome Matt Roer to the stage.
Thank you, Mr. Main, for that wonderful introduction. It truly is an honor for me to be the last graduation speaker that Mr. Main introduces in his time at King. And before I go into my speech, there are a couple of people I want to thank on behalf of the class of 2018. First, thank you to the families, specifically the parents. Your child being on this stage is truly a product of your and their collective hard work. And now that we are all leaving our homes, it is time for you to take a breath. You deserve it, especially knowing some of these students up here. Parents, whether you are sad or happy about your child leaving the house, you should be proud of the fact that your child has made it to this stage. Next, thank you to the teachers and faculty. You've helped us grow into strong, confident, mature adults over our time at King. Well, we actually might want to scratch that mature part. With your guidance, faculty, we have accumulated not only a wealth of knowledge, but experiences we will cherish for the rest of our lives. Finally, I think I speak for the King community when I say thank you to our head of school, Mr. Main, for your dedication and commitment to the King School during your tenure, and commend you on all of your accomplishments here. For those of you that don't know Mr. Main or go to King, every morning without fail, Mr. Main will be standing in his normal spot, greeting students, giving them handshakes, and chatting about whatever was going on in the lives of these students. And granted, this is at like 8 in the morning, so who really wants to be having a conversation? But Mr. Main is always there, talking to students, giving advice, truly interested in what these students have to say. This story truly shows how Mr. Main really cared about the well-being of King students. Thank you, Mr. Main, for greeting us every morning, and to return the favor, now that you are graduating with us, we'd like to invite you to smoke a cigar by the middle school, as is tradition, by the stone wall. I tell you this specific story about Mr. Maine because the class of 2018 and Mr. Maine have a very big similarity that I noticed. They both have found unique ways to be passionate about life at King, so therefore a story about Mr. Maine's passion for improving King and his care of the students is a great introduction to my speech for the class of 2018. So upon receiving this mammoth of a task to speak on behalf of my class, I started doing some thinking about what I was supposed to do. And the big question that I asked myself was, what has defined our class over our time at King, and how can I use it in my speech? So I decided to brainstorm some words to describe the class of 2018. I'll be honest, many of them are what you'd hear Mr. Coulomb say when discussing our ability to follow the dress code. And one of the words I landed on was disobedience. Because the teacher can tell you there are many times when our class was disobedient, whether not listening during class meeting or not responding to emails. And I did some more thinking about this word disobedience. And I realized that does not need to be a solely negative connotation to this word, given the fact that it basically means someone who does not obey or someone who feels strongly about their own beliefs. And it reminded me of a definition of another word, passionate, which is basically someone who has strong feelings or beliefs about someone or something. So basically, I decided that rather than the class of 2018 being the disobedient class, I began to consider us as the passionate class, and to me it was very compelling. And given the debater in me, today I want to prove to you all, the judges, that the class of 2018 is not the disobedient class, but rather the passionate class. And to the class of 2018, I'm going to prove to you all how, although we chose to focus on different subjects, we really are the same in the way that we follow these paths. And I want to begin my argument with a quote from head of upper school, Ms. Sadlowski, who is well known for urging students to dig deep and find a reason to care. And Ms. Sadlowski believes that if we can accomplish this goal, we will find success in our endeavors, whatever they are. And whether or not, and all of these seniors say that they enjoyed their time at King, I can guarantee it is true that if we everyone in the class of 2018 spent a day and looked around King's school community, we would find things that we truly cared about. So going into the specifics of that, first, we cared on the sports field. On the turf, four-year starting quarterback Ren Lintz and running back Evan Henry helped lead the Vikings football team to back-to-back knapsack championships. Ren and his arm will be headed to Bucknell to play D1 football for the Bison, and Evan is going to Army West Point to play D1 football for the Black Knights. In baseball, Lucas Stallman and his ability to just crush balls out of the park will be joining the BC Eagles. In tennis, Harry Walker was ranked #1 in the United States for boys 16 and under, and 6 months later earned the #1 ranking in boys 18s. He's won championships on all surfaces and won the FAA singles title in 2016, and he will be attending Harvard to play next year for the Crimson. That's big. Kelly Conhaney and Steph Costiel won the Jack Keegan Female Scholar Athlete and Stanford Old Timer Scholar Athlete Awards, respectively, for their combined success in academics along with volleyball and softball. In lacrosse, Kelly Gowan helped lead King to a win in the 2017 FAA Tournament Championship, and he's the all-time lacrosse point getter in King history. He was named an All-American this year for lacrosse, which is the first in the history of King. He will be attending Mount St. Mary's. He will be attending Mount St. Mary's next year to play lacrosse for the Mountaineers. In volleyball, volleyball. With their win in the NEPSAC title game against McDuffie, the Vikings finished at 19-1 and FAA and NEPSAC champions. Over the past 4 seasons, King is an incredible 78-2 with 4 straight FAA titles and 3 straight NEPSAC titles. The 3 seniors who played on the team for 4 years, Kelly Conhaney, Steph Costiel, and Allie Wheeler, will go out never having lost a league match or a match at home, and with final records of 19-1, 20-0, 20-0, and 19-1. Other successful college-bound athletes that the class of 2018 can boast include Chris Joyce, who's attending the St. Lawrence University for equestrian, Colby Lopez Balboa, who's attending Hobart and William Smith College for hockey, and Allie Wheeler, who's attending Middlebury for volleyball. King seniors have also led their teams to championships in sports like softball with an FAA championship in 2016, and hockey, who also won an FAA championship in 2016. And although not all of our teams won championships, each King senior worked hard to be the best they could on their respective teams. Mr. Lazarus, I hope you were taking notes. We got to get these King athletes on NBC Sports. We'll start writing up the contract now. Next, while women argue that art students and athletes don't have a lot in common, I'm now going to use the King class of 2018 as evidence to show why this theory is actually a fallacy. As the athletes that I discussed focused their attention on the courts and the fields, the advanced art students were in the art room working on their craft. Henry Smith, Allie Wheeler, Olivia Begg, Annika Ozesmir, Ariana Lorettamola, and Olivia De Chiara tackled themes like myth, chaos, memory, acceptance, escapism, wonder, and illusions. Very deep and impressive themes. In order to succeed in their work, both the athletes and the artists need to pay attention to detail, work insanely hard, focus on their goal, and of course, make mistakes. And specifically with making mistakes is essential in the process to becoming great in any activity that you're involved in. And when speaking about the art colloquium, I got this from the King website, Ms. Lapola specifically said that mistakes are when the most growth takes place. And this quote really hit me because it reminded me of a similar quote from NBA legend Michael Jordan, who once said that he's failed over and over again, and that's why he's succeeded. And as you can clearly see, while the subject of their passions were different, the extent that they went to achieve their goals was exactly the same. The same goes for our STEM scholars who harness their skills in math, computer science, engineering, and the physical sciences to speed past their peers at other schools, conducting graduate-level research, and winning and participating in different competitions. Max Hellman analyzed how insider trading affects the global marketplace using computer programming. Jason Liu improved on his third in the world rank for physics by tying for first in the world in the Physics Bowl competition, so King can now tout that we have the best young physicists on the planet. Elena Grabeliuk, our valedictorian, conducted research on MRIs and how to improve and enhance their usefulness. Using her computer science and math skills, she developed an algorithm that improved images from MRIs. This year, she became the first student in the history of the school to enter the Regeneron Science Talent Search and the Siemens competition in math, science, and technology. Very impressive. Much like our athletes, artists, and scientists, the class of 2018 even has our own Society of Thespians. King actors and actresses like Riley Jones, Jamie Lopez, Grant Hirsch, Kira O'Donnell, Rachel Cadlick, Juan Vicente Ellis Ochoa, Devin Gallagher, Kendall Abbott, Austin Hanley, Sonali Burns, and James Scarlatta graced the stage in performances and shows like Sweeney Todd, Avenue Q, Into the Woods, and Almost Maine. And of course, for any of you who saw Into the Woods, we could all not forget Caroline Strom and her amazing performance as Milky White the cow in Into the Woods. And we even had nominees for Halo Awards, which I was told is the high school equivalent of a Tony Award. Austin Hanley was nominated for his performance as the Prince in Into the Woods, and Riley Jones and Nick Bellows won Best Performance by a Couple in a Play Award for their scene during Almost Maine. That's a first in King history, I believe. And the King class of 2018 has expert filmmakers too. Grant Hirsch's inspirational short movie, 5 Steps to Getting Over Your Dream Girl, won Best Creative Film and Best of Festival at the 2018 Greenwich Youth Film Festival. King seniors have also played an integral role in the extracurriculars that make the school a more rounded place. I chose to focus on strengthening debate, Model UN, and investment clubs, along with AJ DeGrotto for Model UN and Investment Club, and longtime partner and friend Daniel Gilbert for debate. Others focus on diversity programs, organizing and moderating core conversations, planning for powerful events like Names Day, and ensuring that King is a place that takes into account all perspectives. And our student council reps strive to make King a better place for the class of 2018, led by student body president Sonali Burns, who made sure that everyone's phone was off during assembly, and put her touch on the King community from playing music before assembly to helping run King's very own version of Hungry Hungry Hippos. Yes, that happened. We also have dedicated time and become passionate about giving back to the community that has given us so much. King seniors have played a huge role in the developing King Care Service program. Ethan Marsh and Annika Ozesmir helped plan multiple dinners for the Inspirica organization. Morgan Riley and Kelly Gowan developed our relationship with the Harlem Lacrosse program and developed and executed multiple events and fundraisers for them. And in response to Hurricane Harvey, football and field hockey teams raised over $6,000 for the May Creek High School in Katy, Texas, all on their own initiative. And finally, King seniors have become passionate about things that others might not feel are important, but to us as a class are very important. Kelly Wappler led the way in ensuring that the senior lot was not invaded by undeserving juniors, and that there were enough spots for as many seniors as possible. Katie Simpson was the first one to wear a college sweatshirt to school this year and fought for our ability to show off the schools we were accepted to and were attending. And we even were nice enough to take the time to put notes on each other's cars when one of us might not have done the best job parking. I won't mention this atrocious driver's name, but they know who they are. All in all, when we have found things we care about, we have put everything we have into them. We have all dug deep and found a reason. Through our differences, our fight, our drive to succeed, our passion for whatever it is we do is the same. That is what brings us together as a class. And in a world where our leaders are attacking one another because of their differences, it is up to us as the next generation to celebrate our differences and similarities alike. And personally, if my speech does nothing but show you all how much we really do have in common, I will feel like I have accomplished my goal. And while our wildly different interests may feel like a reason why we are not close as a group, I argue that it should make us closer. And we all know the saying, opposites attract. And as we move on to the next part of our lives, I ask you, class of 2018, to soak in the moments because you only have one high school life. And next year, we will all go our separate ways, but it is essential that we do not forget about each other. And whether we realize it or not, we have been such a big part of each other's lives, and to throw that away would be a mistake. Cherish these final moments with each other, because unfortunately, this may be one of the last times we are together as one family. Keep in touch with one another, and not just because Elena could get you a job someday, but when we develop bonds with one another, it ties us back to King, back to this incredible 4-year journey, and longer for others. And to the audience, I would definitely urge you all to remember the names of the students up here, because they are going to make big names for themselves. Maybe you'll see Pierce Norwood and Kurt Voges on the cover of Forbes magazine for putting to work their investment strategies that won them the Junior Achievement Stock Market Challenge. Maybe you'll see Luke Copenheffer design the next greatest cybersecurity platform that will protect all of our data from Mark Zuckerberg. And maybe you'll see Thomas Mudd as a candidate for President of the United States in 2036. And this passionate quality goes for everyone in the senior class. And I didn't get to name everyone because I'm pretty sure I'm either about to be kicked off the stage or the class of 2018 is going to be passionate about riding against me. But if I didn't mention you, it isn't because you don't have a passion or a gift. The true purpose of a passion doesn't come from a visible public achievement. Sometimes the things we do simply to satisfy our own curiosity and to make ourselves happy. And for the class of 2018, this is entirely the case. There's a lot of uncertainty that comes with the end of high school and the start of college for both students and parents alike. But if there is one thing that is for sure, the King class of 2018 will continue to focus on their passions no matter where they are. This is the quality that brings us together, and it's the same one that will drive us all to future success. 4 years, 8 semesters, 16 quarters. Over that time, we've worked hard, we've laughed, we've loved, we've developed our passions, and of course, we dug deep and found a reason to make it through. And look at that, in approximately 1,000 seconds, we'll move our tassels to the left, ring the infamous bell for the final time, and have finally made it through high school. Thank you, and congratulations again to the class of 2018.